And here is a look at the latest power outages around Western Washington. At last check, more than 10,000 Puget Sound Energy customers are without power. A majority of those outages we're seeing on the east side and down south. Meanwhile, federal job cuts mean that these high winds and power outages that we're dealing with come at a very vulnerable time for people in the Pacific Northwest. King 5's Maddie White joining us live right now from Seattle's Wallingford neighborhood, where a tree fell down earlier. Maddie.
Jessica, yeah, North Seattle is absolutely feeling this tonight. 3,000 customers nearly in Fremont without power. And here in Wallingford, there's a lot of vegetation that's fallen down. Check out this tree behind me. It absolutely fell over out of its roots. You can see that the dirt here is saturated with water from all the rain we've gotten. And the tree fell partly into the road, so they had to chop it up here with a buzzsaw. But all of these high winds and outages come after job cuts to the federal agency that owns most of the Pacific Northwest's high voltage network. Washingtonians are still reeling from a disastrous bomb cyclone in November that killed 2 people and left 500,000 people in the dark. Power eventually came back on, thanks in part to the 3,000 federal workers at the Bonneville Power Administration, which owns 3/4 of the Pacific Northwest's high voltage network.
These are literally the people who keep the lights on. And now they're being fired on a whim because Trump and Elon Musk do not have a clue.
Washington state leaders like Senator Patty Murray and Governor Bob Ferguson say our electric grid's at risk. The Trump administration cut 430 positions at Bonneville this month. That number is nearly 15% of its total workforce. A coalition of local power companies that rely on Bonneville's services is run by this man, Spencer Gray.
So when you get in a stress situation, a bomb cyclone, an ice storm, big wildfires that take out a transmission line, you need people in a control room who know what they're doing, who've been there before, who can fix things.
President Trump says he's making these cuts to save you tax dollars, but the Bonneville Power Administration is self-funded by its customers.
Our electric rates cover the costs of all of that staff and all of that equipment. It's not covered by the taxpayers. So the idea that we're somehow making the government more efficient, we're finding cost savings, simply doesn't hold true for Bonneville.
The Trump administration also has put a hiring freeze on federal agencies, so those workers cannot be replaced, at least right now. And Gray hopes that Washingtonians concerned about the electric grid reach out to their representatives to oppose job cuts on these essential services. Meantime, it's getting a little bit windier here in Wallingford. Reporting live, I'm Maddie White, King 5 News.